Okay, so hello folks, welcome to another episode of the Insta Roundtable. And today we have a very interesting topic, a very pertinent topic in today's world, which is candidate experience and its impact on employer branding. So, to talk about this topic, we have two talent acquisition leaders from Ericsson and Atlassian. I will first call upon Achut Shukla, who manages talent acquisition at Ericsson. So, hi Achut, thank you for your time and thanks for joining in.
Hi, Sarvjit. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for hosting me here.
Okay, and we have Zishan Malik, who is a talent acquisition at Atlassian. So, hi Zishan, how are you doing?
Hey,
Lovely to see
Sanjeev.
you.
Hi, lovely meeting you, and thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting me for this event.
Great. So let's start it off. We have a few questions lined up for you guys. So we'll start with Achyut first. So a few words about your journey from childhood to becoming a talent acquisition expert. So we can go first. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, to talk about in detail, session timing might get exhausted. So, I'll give you a short summary about how has been the glimpse, and if I recall in a quick pattern of how we are tending towards the real side, right? 30 seconds thought. So, I have been someone who has been excited towards the technical aspects. From the days of logo language, if you may recall, because you guys come in from a similar generation, right? So we studied logo in the initial schooling days, and that really was the kickoff side, which showed me my key aspiration towards the technical industry and the technical side of the works. And somewhere or the other, when I grew up, towards the education side, I realized, I wanted to deliver the society with my right set of capabilities, because if I would have been opting for something which was just into the technical role, I would have limited my skill set and contributions to the society. So I just wanted to be into a role which not just helps the technical industry, but then also helps the society in the right manner. So with the time and the opportunities I saw in the human resource teams, right? So I have been part of the talent acquisition teams. So with previous organization, I was supporting for some other geographies. With Ericsson, it's been a journey of more than close to 6 years by now, and with a decade of experience, I see this is something which works as an AI to you when you work into the HR domain, right? You more get an experience and you more understand about humans and their psychologies and their experience and their cultures, and that is something where I see. I've been really developing my strength, and that was my core interest, to go through and touch humans life, how I can assist them by being on the other side, and then also make society a well-being. So that's how it is, and that's the summary in nutshell. I hope
Okay.
this helps to understand to the audience.
Yes, surely. Achyut, thank you for the introduction. And Zishan, I will go up to you next. And so your question will be a few words about your journey from childhood to becoming a talent acquisition expert.
Okay. So basically, I'm born and brought up in Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. That is land of Tatas. So there, people have a different mindset. So they are inspired by Tata, and they have a mindset inclining towards manufacturing unit. So as you know, like Jamshedpur is a hub for manufacturing industries, to like Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Pigments, Usha Martin, to name a few. Mm-hmm. And you know about Indian parents that you are a guy, you have to become an engineer. You are a girl, you have to become a doctor. So that happened with me. Okay. So I landed up doing chemical engineering for Odisha. And then post that, I did what I wanted to do actually. Okay. So in my earlier days, I was inspired by the recruiters who were coming to the college placement. And I wanted to be on the other side of the table taking the interviews. So that was my inspiration of coming into a TA, talent acquisition role, basically. Okay. So then I moved into a TA role. I did MBA in HR, and that started my TA career by initially joining a small early stage startup in the beginning and scaling their team. And then like I have worked with organizations like Uber, Oyo, Paytm, and currently handling the talent acquisition here at Atlassian. Okay, so just a brief about me and my career and how I landed up in TA.
Great. So lovely to meet you guys, and let's move on to the other questions. So Zishan, we can continue with you, and then
Sure.
we'll Achyut. So, if you are building a tool focused on candidate experience, so which is, I think, one of the most important things in talent acquisition, which three features would you like to prioritize and why? So, it's an imaginary tool which you are building, and like which three features would you want, and would you want that like as priority, and why?
So, the major three features which I'll be focusing is the first feature will be clear and automated communication.
Hmm.
So, the major challenges currently that candidates are not aware at what stage they are currently. Okay, then they are not aware if they are rejected or not. What is the final outcome? So, like recruiters are not reaching out to them, or people are not reaching out to them because they have been rejected. So, if you are in our shoes, then it's very difficult for us to convey them also that you have been rejected and we are not moving ahead. Okay, and if you are in a candidate's shoes, then it's difficult for them also to understand that okay, they have been rejected, because it's a career for them. Okay, and we are a person who are shaping others, shaping other careers. Okay, so the first thing is clear and automated communication process, where they are knowing the real-time updates of their candidature, what is the expectation, what is the timeline for each stages and all. Okay, this is the first thing. Second thing is a user-friendly interface. Okay, so I have seen that in many of the organization, the application process is very lengthy. Okay, and the candidates gets frustrated putting all the details there. Okay, so that is a very frustrating thing. If I am a candidate, it will be a frustrating thing for me also, like going through like 3 different pages and mentioning all the details there. Okay, so a very short and crisp application process, and it should be mobile friendly also, because most of the candidate, like they are in 9 to 6 job. After coming to office, they don't have time in opening the laptop and all, so they are taking the jobs on mobile phone. Okay, so it should be mobile friendly so that they can apply through the mobile, and it will be a very short and concise application process so that they are not frustrated and it's very easy for them to apply.
Okay.
The third thing is the real-time feedback from the candidates. Okay, so if you want to enhance your recruitment process, or if you want to enhance the candidate experience, so you need to get feedback from the candidates on a real-time basis. Okay, so if you are getting the feedback from the candidate on real-time basis, so you'll have an idea like what are the area of improvement for you. Okay, so yeah, these are the 3 major things which I will focus on when I'm building a tool, focusing on candidate experience.
Great, Zishan. So we have talked about clear and automated communication, user-friendly processes, and interface, and real-time feedback from the candidate side. So it's a two-way feedback which you have talked about. So Achyut, what are your thoughts if you have to build a tool for candidate experience? So which 3 features would you love to have, or would you like to have as must-have for your tool, and why?
Okay, sure. I mean, since we're talking about 3, some might be overlapping with what Jishan has already shared. Okay. But then, since we're talking about the virtual tool expectations, right? So first, which I would suggest, we're moving towards a world which is full of AI, right? I mean, this is less of a manual world, more of automations and innovation side, right? So the first feature which I would expect an ATS to have is about automatic reach to the right audience, because for now, people have data in most of the industry and most of the sectors, but then reaching to the right data, that's something which is still taking manual task, and that's where our AI needs to be trained better, and that's where the ATS should come in from. The first.
Yeah. Okay.
Second, which is quite similar to what Jishan also touched upon, I mean, the candidate application experience is which is really needing simplified. I know many organizations are really working well. Of course, I would not like to call out their names upon. It could be the one I'm already working with, or the ones which I'm not worked with directly. But then some of the organizations are really paying right attention. So they have simplified the application process to few seconds thing. It's just a click, you do, and then it's done. So, I mean, that's the experience which not just some organizations, but the complete industry needs to absorb. Second is, the third is very close to what Dishan talked about. So not just communication, but then also transparency. So see, at times what happens is you get the communications, but still the curiosity of awareness that where your application is headed towards is still not very clear. I mean, some of the organizations you see there's no status. Some you see their status, but still you're not very clear that where your application is. So, in terms of transparency along with the communications, is where an ATS needs to be developed and they should be doing better job. So these are the three pillars I would count upon. One is about reach to the right audience. Second,
Reach
about
the right audience, and then application experience, and then there will be no visibility of the application. So yeah, so similarly, what like Insight has also been working on, we have done the first thing which you have mentioned, I think, automated reach to a lot of candidates, which are very relevant. I think Zishan, I think you have worked on this. Atlassian is also one of our users clients. Yeah, so I can application experience, yes, we are working on, and visibility, yes, we have worked upon. They are like know where they are. So yeah, very very pertinent things which we have seen. The user friendly process is also one of the things which we have touched upon. So one click applications, not like you have to fill everything and just upload your resume and that's it. Like we will take it up from there. So very very important pointers have been made here. So I will continue with you, Achut, on this. What challenges have you faced in when you try to enhance the candidate experience, and how have you addressed them?
I mean, see, when you talk about candidate experience, there are various parameters on which how you can measure about how it can be improved.
Hmm.
But then somewhere or the other, I see the communication really carries a heavy weightage.
Hmm.
Because if someone has been well informed, let's say what aspects has their application progressed to, what they are expected to do next, when should be they heading next, or what is coming up. So they are very well prepared, right? For certain cases, if you look at the business case around the industry, in certain scenarios you hear about after an year, in certain scenarios you just hear about the very next day and without any personalized response, which is really an automated experience, a robotic experience, and not enhancing candidate to come back to you again. So it's more about how you go to a mall, you go through an experience of shopping, right? If you get the right set of experience, you of course not just recommend other people to visit that shop, but then also you're eager to visit that very often, right? So similarly, each organization should look at not just an application, rather how are you delivering as an experience, especially because you need to look at the other side. If the talent is really great and you're losing him or her just because they're applying to something which is either high on aspirations or is not a fit from your perspective, you're losing a good talent who can be a great asset to your competitor and can be a challenge or a loss for you tomorrow. So I mean the organizations need to look at that aspect.
Okay. Zishan, what are your thoughts on this? Like, what challenges have you faced in when you try to enhance candidate experience, and any addresses on this?
Okay. My answer would also be revolving around what Achyut told. Okay. So the major thing is the clear communication. Okay. And providing the real time feedback to the candidate and clearing their expectation in terms of timeline of each stages. Okay. Plus, what I do differently is I always prepare the candidate before each and every interview process. So what is the expectation, basic expectation the interviewer will be expecting from that candidate in that interview process? I'll clear that expectation. Okay. So this is the expectation which we are having from the candidate which is coming to the interview process, so that he is basically clear with the expectation and accordingly he will deliver in that interview. Okay. So that is also a plus point for any recruiter. If you are pitching any job to a candidate, and if you know about the process, so just clear the expectations. What are the basic expectations from this role? And in each and every interview, what are the competencies you will be judged upon, so that they are very well prepared, and then they will be giving a very good feedback to you and your organization also. And again, that will be spreading like a word of mouth and basically branding for your organization.
Okay. So communication and expectations are the expectation setting and will be the most important, as I can recollect from this discussion. So like sticking to Zishan on this, so which one achievement would you like to share with our audience today? It can be from your like personal or professional experience, any achievement in terms of employer branding or candidate experience, maybe, or any other things related to talent acquisition. Yeah, open to you.
Okay, if I talk about my personal experience, then it will be like a very big achievement for me where I am now. Okay. So it's actually a very big achievement for me, being a boy from a very small town, and did engineering from a very normal college, and coming at this organization at this level. So it's a very big achievement for me
Okay,
in my personal life.
great. Achyut, over to you. What is one achievement which you like to share with our audience today? It could be from your professional or personal experience.
Okay, sure. I'll share, two perspectives of course, when I talk about achievements, there could be many moments which I see as the achievements. But to call off upon, what comes on top of my mind.
Mm,
See, when you're working into the HR space, you're adding value to the human resource side, right? Because you have technical technology which is supporting you, but then you add value to that technology by bringing your skills, which are the softer skills, into it, right?
mm,
So, I have been part of the organizations previously as well, and somewhere or the other with Ericsson, I guess, on a similar forte within HR and TA domain has been my experience. So while working on it, you have certain metrics which you work for the organization and you for yourself, where you compare that how better are you doing than what you were, right? But then the I still remember that morning when I received that email from LinkedIn where they counted me as their top 5% recruiters globally. So
oh,
that was a measure which I really saw that was a metric where I saw that I was creating an impact on the global level, not just something which was limited to a given geography or domain or a organization level. So which really helped me to understand that my efforts are towards the right direction to support the well-being of the society. And then the second thing which I recall is, which is happening very often, but then I'll share this as an experience, not just one instance, is about the meetings or the catch-ups which I do with the candidates, right? Because what happens is when you're into the recruitment, you become someone who's very focused towards your customer, which is either your hiring managers or the stakeholders, and then also you're someone who's oriented towards the targets, right? But then I feel very enlightened when I have a connect with people who are already or the part of my organization, or
mm,
people even who are not part of my organization, to connect with them, who seek for advices and consultations from me, and then of course they come back. Let's say this is not something which is happening daily, but then when they come back in a month or 6 months or 12 months down the line saying that, hey, you shared that advice and that really worked for me and I'm living a better life now. So that's something which I really keep somewhere or the other alive with me. And that's I see as an achievement which I carry as a proud moments with me.
okay, great. So I have one question for both of you.
Hmm.
So if you consider pre-COVID era and then you consider the post-COVID era, so a lot of things have changed. So the candidate experience, how we used to do it before pre-COVID and post-COVID has changed. Even the employer branding has changed, and due to some like turmoil in the markets, there has been an impact on the employer brands because of multiple restructuring happening. So how do you see? So I can go with first Achut and then go with Zishan. So how do you see the pre-COVID and post-COVID candidate experience changing, and what is its impact on the like the employer brand, which takes a lot of money and also a lot of sweat and blood to build?
No, actually, that's a great area, and I never thought about the difference. So,
Yeah.
a great question. I would appreciate you asking that. So, especially people who are listening to this or who might listen to this in future and are aspired to be part of TA as the function or are already part of TA function. So if you're joining this journey after COVID or during COVID, I'm sure, you have not been part of the previous experience,
Hmm.
but then it's much simpler, much easy to go through as a candidate. Why so? Because if you look at the back end, right? There were all the organizations. I still don't recall any organization giving that leeway to the candidate to go for a virtual interview. I
Hmm.
mean, 99% of the organization used to make them suffer to come to office, meet you face to face, go through multiple stages, and there was a trend which I still remember about walk-ins.
Yeah.
COVID has had really bad impacts, but then I really see this as a positive impact towards the society, which it has impacted that we deliver an easy experience of virtual interviews, having the assignments, having the case studies or whatever is required to go through virtually. And that is not something which is giving an easy option for a candidate to get a job. But on the other hand, it's an easy experience Of course, if you need to do the evaluations, you can develop your metrics to assess a candidate in a right manner, even if it's virtual or face to face. But then that has really simplified. And the organizations which have not been able to sustain that, that's where they are losing the candidate interest and are, hampering their candidate experiences, which I see, has been the key factor for organizations who really understood the need and were able to develop the options or the accessibility for the candidates to go through the recruitments and to show their interest. So I see that really has impacted in a positive manner.
Great insights, I think, regarding the walk-ins and the experience. Zishan, what about you? Like, what do you think pre-COVID, post-COVID candidate experience and its impact on employer branding?
Okay, so the only thing which has changed is in IT industry. Okay,
Okay.
if you talk about a manufacturing industry pre-COVID and post-COVID, it's almost the same for them. Okay. So the major change which has happened is in the IT space only. And as Achut rightly said, that was a very major pain point for candidates. Like they have to come to different venues and all and give the interviews. They have to sit for a whole day and then they have to deliver multiple interviews. That was a very difficult task. They have to again take leave from their current organization. They have to say something, I am sick today, or I am not able to come to office today. But basically what has happened now is they are able to attend to multiple interviews in a single day. Okay, it's like their career has widened. They have a different career options, multiple career options, and they are able to apply to multiple companies at a single moment. Okay. So at that time, it was like if they are applying to any one company, so one day they have to go to a certain organization, second day they have to go to a certain organization for interview, and then again for the further process they have to again visit their premises for the interviews process. Okay, but what happens now is they can apply to multiple organizations, and in the same day they can attend interviews of multiple organizations also. Okay, so the whole process is simplified. You are saving your time, you are saving your effort, you are saving your money, and hence your scope is widened.
Also, I think geographically your scope is widened. You can apply for any roles outside India. Or
so now what most of the companies are doing, most of the companies are having a team anywhere policy. Okay, so you can be placed anywhere within the country and you can work for your organization. Okay, so that's a very actually
move,
catchy move for most of the students and most of the candidates.
Great. So great insights from the questions which we asked. Now we go to the audience questions. The audience questions, I have two questions, which is live questions which have been put up. So anybody can answer. How to respond to candidate questions on interview feedback? This is asked by Rishi.
I can pick this. Okay, if that is okay. So see, interview feedback is not something which should only be seen as a feedback, right? And if you see that as a to-do thing, I'm sure you might not have that right set of vision to deliver, and then the candidate also sees it as a negative instance, right? So if you hold that session in a way that it's going to be something which will help him or her to be a better professional, right? So you'll be, you need to count upon, firstly, you talk about what a strength he or she is holding of, right? So that they get to understand what they were really strong at. And then also in a right manner, you need to adjust about what were really the key factors which had made the difference, either in terms of what improvement areas were, or what really made a difference between he or she as compared to the one who has been selected. So if you compare it in that manner and then also advise about what right set of areas he or she could do or look at to make an impact in future, maybe for this role or a similar role, I'm sure they will have a better feedback session rather than just telling you that, okay, you were not selected because of notice period, okay, you were not selected because of your salary expectation. That really leads to a bad instances for someone who's really having the right set of skills. But then if you deliver with them in a transparent manner about what could have been done better or what they can do better, that will really help.
Great. Zishan, you want to add something to this?
No, I think all the points have been covered by Achut.
Great.
Yeah.
I have one more question from the live session, which I just got now. Jay Tarimala asks, "What is the application dropout rate, which you guys have experienced? Like anything on that, or maybe
Application dropout rate as in?
so? How many people drop off after the
Yeah,
application?
got it. So it depends on organization to organization. Okay. So if it is a very well funded startup, then it depends. If it is a very early stage startup, then again it depends.
Hmm.
And if it is an MNC, then again it depends. Okay. So I am talking about if it is a very early stage startup, then it will be roughly around 70% dropout.
Hmm.
Okay. A mid-sized startup, it would be around 50 to 60% dropout. And a good renowned MNC, then it would be like 25 to 30 or 40% dropout.
Okay, great. One of the favorite questions which we have in our webinars from recruiters or HR folks is how to stop this drop off. Like how can we stop this drop off? So we have this is one of the favorite questions which we have. So moving on to the next one, we have Sunita. Sunita asks, like, for startups and small businesses, what are key steps to create a positive candidate experience with limited resources?
Okay, I'll begin here. So the major thing is they'll have to showcase their company culture. Okay.
Okay.
And this is the major thing which candidate is focusing on. They want to go in an organization with a very good culture. Okay. They don't want like micromanagement organization where they are micromanaging on each and everything. Okay. So this will be a very key factor in deciding the organization. And this will be a very major step to create a positive candidate experience if you are having a very limited resources. Okay. The second thing is again taking feedback from candidates and providing feedback to the candidates. So again, a two-way feedback process. And again, a very short application and interview process, because in most of the multinational companies, the interview process is also lengthy. Okay. So candidate wants an organization where the interview process is also very short and the expectation is not very high. Okay. So yeah, these three things are the major things which a small industry or small startup should focus on.
Okay. Achyut, you want to add onto something?
Sure, sure. I mean, of course, although Jishan touched it rightly, but then for organizations or the small, smart startups to focus upon, I mean, human touch is what is really making a difference in terms of experience you deliver. Let's say, even if you're getting a very small scale of interested applicants or the talents who are showing interest to your organization, even if you give right experience to them, I'm sure in a long run you may see a really great impact. But if you're trying to capture a ship by just sitting on a boat, you're going to ship down within the river, right? So I mean, you need to look at bigger picture, scale your size in the right manner so that you step by step grow. And then if you're delivering to the right set of areas, I'm sure you can survive to a longer extent and grow and evolve.
Okay, great. Shekhar asked, this is a question for Zishan. So, what are the key changes you have made in your company to improve employee engagement? So, specifically, you can talk about your present company or any other company, whatever.
Okay, so employee engagement. So, in an organization which is permanently remote, that's a major challenging thing for us or for anyone in HR. Okay, so what organizations do is, what multiple organizations do is, they have an intentional get-togetherness.
Okay.
So this is common in most of the organization if they are working remotely. So they are calling all the people in a certain team for a get together in a certain place. So that creates that emotional intelligence, that creates so you are able to meet your people in your team. Okay, so again, post COVID era, it's very difficult because it's everything is online. You're not able to meet your team and all. So for meeting the team and all, so they are creating these things like as an intentional get-togetherness where the team is coming together and meeting face to face. Yeah.
Lovely. I think Shekhar, you got your answer. We go on to the last question from Jyoti. Jyoti asked from Tibandro, what is that one key piece of advice for young TA professionals which you want to give in respect to candidate experience? Of course, anyone can answer.
Okay, maybe I can pick this. So, an advice which I share with anyone, I mean, be it my team or any HR professional who's enthusiastic to a TA domain or the function to build their career upon, or look as they start of their career and go through the other stages. I mean, what I suggest is be decisive or focused about few things. One is uh, your decisions should not be just your emotional decisions. They should be based upon the analytics or what has been the trend, so that you're doing the efforts in the right direction. Second, you should not be overhyped with looking at things that, oh yes, HRs are the ones who are doing the change or are really making an impact into the society, so we should look for it. I mean, you should evaluate your self interest in a way that the way a technology is tested by a tester,
Hmm.
human resource teams are being tested by humans during
Hmm.
this complete process. So if you have the right set of software and APIs inbuilt to, I mean, let's say, I mean, if I talk about my day,
Hmm.
I on an average meet 18 different individuals each day, inclusive of people at my home and office, right? And each one comes up with different kind of mindset, different culture, different body language. And if I'm still able to understand and give them the right experience, then I'm really someone who should be desired for this role. Otherwise, I'm sure, I mean, you should either look at either the learning and development programs, which can help you
Hmm.
to build such a skills, and then go through the right set of aspiration. And then the third area, which is the last one, I would suggest the young aspirants to look for is not just be a follower. So let's say Jishan did this. If I do this certification, I would also be TA qualified. No, I mean, you need to look and understand the nerves of a human. If I
Hmm.
sense around that Jishan is really not feeling well and he is smiling, I need to sense it around. That's the AI I should have, rather than going through a script. Okay, I need to call him. I need to ask about expected CTC. What's your notice period? Okay, you're a good profile. Let's go ahead. No, this is
Hmm.
not. This is not DH job. You're doing a robotic job. What you
Hmm.
can add value is sense around who's really a right fit, how to take him to the right path, and then also help your stakeholder with the right consultation.
Great, great. I think we are done with the audience questions. If you have any more audience question, I will email both of you guys, and you can answer it over the email. We move on to the next part, which is the candidate part, where like we have a candidate focused question. So both of you can answer this. What can candidates do to ensure they align with the company's culture and values during a recruitment process?
Okay. So, what most of the organizations do is they have a cultural fitment round in their interview process, okay, to check if the candidate is culturally fit for them or not. And so, what they do is they ask situation based questions from candidates for these cultural fitment round, and those situation based questions are aligned to those values, okay. So, for example, an X company is having an X value, then that candidate will be judged upon those value, and does he possess those value or not. So he has to define a situation from his earlier organization or from his current organization which defines himself as a current fit for that value based on those values. Okay, so yeah, always do research on the company. What are the company's values, and define a situation which is resonating those company values. It might be from your current organization or from your earlier organization. Yep.
Great. That will be a great advice for the candidates. Achyut, your take on this? Sorry.
See, if I say about, I mean, what should be right set of areas for the organizations to look at, and for the candidates especially. See, every organization has a different culture, and as a candidate, let's say if I'm someone who's actively looking, right, I might not be able to adapt to each organization's culture, especially during the interviews. Even though if I'm a fit, I may not, right? But then I would suggest a common advice, which is I see a common look forward culture for each and every organization and can be helpful for the aspirants who are looking for a job, is about the desire to know or to understand better. So let's say, for example, the candidates who lack the interest in terms of learning or how to do better, that's where the culture will miss for any given organizations. But if you have that kind of right set of attitude towards learning or knowing things better, I'm sure most of the organizations will like you. On top of that, of course, some of the organizations, when you're being interviewed for, the basic etiquette or an expectation from you as someone who's looking forward to a career in an organization, you should be basically aware about what that organization does, how are they structured, and the basic information is what they deal in day out, so that you're not a blank face when you're being interviewed about, or let's say you're asked about why did you really like the organization. So answer shouldn't be that this is a multinational company, no, this is a global company, no, this is based in US. No, I mean, you should be more enriched with why in a right manner in terms of how you see it connected with your future, and then that will really make sense, right? I mean, that will do the magics. If you have two set of informations very clear in your head, one is about the organization, what you're stepping for, and then secondly about your own attitude. Because most of the interviews, I'm sure Jishan can also share from his experience, during the interviews when you ask about a candidate, do you know about this, and even if you give them a time, right, they at times really do not come up with a response to it, or they at times lack as a blank response to those situations. I mean, if you come back with saying, let's say, I can learn about this, or this is which I was aspired for, I'm sure that will create a right set of intent for you to grow in the right manner, and that will help you.
Super. Great. So we come to the end of the questions. Now we have the rapid fire round. So rapid fire round, we'll have like 5-6 questions for each of you, and anybody can go first. So whoever wants to go first, like let me know. We can start it off.
We can go alphabetical order, that's fine.
Okay. So Achyut, so let's start with you. So Achyut, what is your favorite food?
That's a tough one. I mean, I like everything and anything, but if you talk about something which is on top of my head, I would say mm, tough one. I would say chocolates for now.
So,
Let's say, yeah,
favorite office setup: open space, cubicles, or remote?
open space.
Okay. Interview preference: in person or virtual?
Either one is fine. I mean, I prefer virtual because of right experience to the candidate.
Great. Feedback: immediate or detailed review?
See, it depends. If someone is really looking for another job, you should be helping them immediately. But if there are a right set of decisions still to be made, then you need to make the right calibration and then come back to someone with the feedback.
Great. How would you choose a team bonding exercise? What would you choose a team bonding exercise? Sorry, eating contest or tug of war?
See, I won't go either of them. I mean, I would suggest the team bonding exercise should be something where you know more about team members. So, any event or the situations where you ask or understand more about individuals. So, for example, one of the event I was attending, and one of the peers, the question was asked that who can ride a cycle on a single tire, and we didn't knew about, right. So that's how you get to know and you understand the team spirit. So, any of the
Okay.
contexts where you get to know more about team is the right one.
Okay. Great. Desk decor, plants, gadgets, or photo frames?
Gadgets, because I'm someone who's really techie.
Okay. Gadget, what you can't live without? What gadget can you live
I mean,
without?
that's common, right? I mean, phone is the liability which we all carry and we can't live without. But certainly, I mean, as a mature professional from the last 2 years, I have been able to survive without the gadget. So, I mean, for now, nothing is something which I'm really mad about. But then phones are still we need to carry.
And relaxation, travel or binge watching?
Travel.
Travel. Okay, great. Zishan will go with you first. Then right now, thank you, Achyut, for all
Sure.
the answers. Zishan, let's go. What was your first job?
Uh, First job again, TA.
Okay, great. So interview preference: in person or virtual?
I would prefer virtual,
Okay,
and it also again depends on who is giving the interview. I'm giving the interview or I'm taking the interview.
great. Feedback: immediate or detailed review?
Again, it depends on candidate to candidate, and plus there are a few companies policy also that detail can't be shared. So majorly a short and concise feedback to the candidates.
Team building, team bonding exercise, eating contest, or tug of war?
Difficult one to choose, but I'll choose tug of war.
Okay. Desk decor, plants, gadgets, or photo frames?
Plants.
Plants. Great. Gadget you can't live without?
Very simple one. Phones.
Okay. And relaxation, travel or binge watching?
Travel. I love traveling a lot.
Great. So both of you love traveling a lot.
I'll
So
tell you
with
the
that,
reasons, Ravjit, because we are so much surrounded by technology.
uh,
I mean, people who are mostly surrounded by technology, they prefer to be out of it. So that's the reason you may hear travel very often.
Actually, they prefer mountains.
Yeah, that's correct.
okay, great. So with that, we come to the end of the Insider Roundtable. We had a great discussion, great insights were shared, and we had fun with the questions also. Hopefully, you guys had a good time with me. With that, I come to the end of the discussion. Thank you so much, Zishan and Achut, for taking time out of your schedule and joining me. Hopefully, you liked it, and all of our folks loved it. So we can see from the comments and the likes which we are getting. Thank you so much, Achut and Zishan,
Thank you.
for meeting me.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot for
Ravjit.
inviting us.
Yeah, lovely meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.